Hello, warriors. Welcome to the U movement. I am B and I am feeling good. I haven't felt this good in years. Maybe, well, since my bliss phase, which was back in 2021. So this awakening journey has been a slow climb back into some good energy for the time being. And do I think I'm going to stay like this probably forever? No. I'm sure there will be more oscillations awaiting. I'm sure there will be more challenges presented, and I'm sure there will be more triggers that come along to squeeze out all of the gunk that has been clearing out over the last few years. And what has brought this change on? Because it was only just a couple of days ago, I was still in grief and still in confusion and still going, why? And wanting to understand what had happened to me. What the F had happened? So I posed a question out to the social medias, the groups that I'm on. I'm a member of a lot of groups, ranging from trauma-focused groups to spirituality groups, to ascension groups, to awakening groups, to you name it, light worker groups, twin flame groups. One, so that I can keep a pulse on what's kind of happening energetically around the world, and two, because they're incredibly useful when I myself am spinning out and wondering what the is happening. So I posed the question to multiple groups, not anticipating what the response would be. And the question was basically along the lines of, has other twin flames, light workers, starseeds, empaths, whatever you want to, associate yourself with energetically, have you too had this karmic experience of really narcissistic energy coming in and out of your life? And the response blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind how many people resonated with that situation. How many light workers and empaths and all of this had grown up and experienced narcissism in their home as a child, as well as narcissistic partners that had come in. So these karmic relationships, and if you don't know the term from a perspective of karmic relationships are soulmates, just like any other soulmate, although the flavor in which they arrive is a little bit more painful, thus the karmic element. So through our past lives, we have experiences, and this time around, in a past life, I was probably a really big asshole. And in this life, I was like, okay, this life, I'm going to play the role of the victim. I'm going to play the role of the empath. I'm going to play this other role. And so I draw into my life certain life experiences. And it's well and good to know this and understand this from a soul perspective and have a soul contract. It's still your egoic human experience. It takes time. It takes a little bit of time to process through the emotions and process through the learning so that you can clear the karma, so you can come to a place of neutrality, because it's shutting down and closing off paradigms. And I've talked about paradigms in lots of other videos. And so these karmic paradigms have been going on from generation to generation, as well as lifetime from lifetime. So past lives, we passed on these experiences. So the first thing that kind of blew my mind in this experience, and what I have been noticing over a period of time as I've been going through my awakening and looking at different groups, is how many people also had similar upbringings to me. Because as a child, I felt like I was like off on my own, experienced something that nobody else seemed to be experiencing or understanding or knowing about. Most certainly, I was raised 1970s, 1980s, and narcissism wasn't something that people talked about back then, nor were other things like empath. I hadn't heard that word until I was well into my adult years. Even autism and neurodivergence were words that weren't thrown around back then. So, I'm linking together. It's like those Venn diagrams where the circles interlock, and I'm seeing a lot of commonality between people who identify with themselves on the spectrum in some way, shape, or form. And that has a crossover with people who have experienced complex post-traumatic stress disorder or developed complex post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as light worker, empath, and this cluster of conditions. There are all these commonalities between these different groups of people that are kind of coming together in a way for me that is making a whole lot more sense. And those of you that identify with yourself as being on the spectrum in some way, shape, or form, or having ADD or all of these types of things, I pose the question to you: have you too had experiences with trauma and narcissistic upbringing that has exacerbated or even created these conditions? While I do believe that neurodivergence is associated from a spiritual point of view as being on the spectrum of light, and crystal children, indigo children, I'm throwing out a lot of different terms. So depending on what group you're following me from, oh, I'm a trauma survivor, or oh, I'm a light worker. There's a coming together of these groups into one common theme, a cluster, so to speak. And the second thing I was blown away by was how many people resonated as well as having these karmic type of relationships as an experience that they've had in their life. And so I then started taking this information that was coming into me and looking at it from a perspective of, okay, if I'm not alone in this experience and there's thousands of others that are resonating with, like the numbers that were coming in were in the hundreds, and I was like, whoa, this is a lot. There is some sort of something at play here. And then I looked at it from a perspective of this. If starseeds, okay, let's use the term starseeds. If starseeds, as a blanket term to cover all of these different groups, whether it be the autistic group, the people that had the empaths, the people who would identify themselves as light workers or twin flames. So let's put it under the heading of starseeds. Starseeds come down to planet Earth to help move us into a new age. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please feel free to go check out the teachings of Dolores Cannon. And her view is widely known and widely held in the spiritual communities, but some of you out there may not know the name or know her work. She developed quantum healing techniques through hypnotism, and while people were under being in there, she started just as like a hypnotist to help people quit smoking and stuff like that, and then there was a common theme that developed over time that whilst people were under, all these common stories started coming in, all these like this information from when they were in this place of higher self speaking, because ego goes away when you're hypnotized, so it's a way to access this collective consciousness. And so over decades, she accumulated information from what people were saying and created many, many books out there, but you can see her videos on YouTube as well. And so the theory behind starseeds is, our soul signed a contract and said, okay, let's go down to planet Earth because there's a lot of disharmony. Things aren't going great down there. There's all this war, there's conflict, there's, so let's send down some star seeds, and we're going to bring these star seeds down with information built into them to challenge the system. And so, as they were born, they were oddities. They were different. They were, and so if you look at it from a point of view from neurodivergence, they weren't the same as everybody else. That's the point of it. They're not supposed to be the same as everybody else. They're supposed to be bringing in new ways of doing, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. Which would have been triggering for people to shine a light on the stuff that's not working. I can remember as a child often, as an adult, I'd look at situations and be like, well, why are you doing it like that? There's a really much easier, simpler way to do it. You want to do it like, what do you mean? Stop. This is how we do it. This is the way that it is. And I'm like, well, that may be the way it is, but why? Why is it the way that it is? If you just did this, look how much time you'll save. It will be way more efficient. And that would rub people up the wrong way, something fierce. And a lot of resistance. So here comes all these star seeds with built-in information to do things differently, to perceive things differently, to communicate differently, to create new. And that didn't go very well. And so in hitting resistance and it caused a lot of conflict, which then came back and caused a lot of symptoms like trauma, like the complex post-traumatic stress disorder, like other disorders that developed as coping strategies and as survival skills, including being an empath. So the term empath is one that, we're born with this skill. However, it becomes an exacerbated trauma response when it's used to one's own detriment, when you're self-sacrificing and have no boundaries and constantly in hypervigilance trying to read the energy in the room to prevent yourself from getting hit or smacked or yelled at. Then, it becomes a trauma response. It's an exacerbated, so it's a natural thing that becomes overused, and therefore, if you only use one muscle and all the rest atrophy, then it's out of balance. It's in a state of disharmony. And so all these trauma responses developed because these star seeds or neurodivergence, light workers, twin flames, anything else that you want came down with this mission to like, hey, we're going to shake things up a little bit. We're going to do things differently. And that caused a lot of tension. And so, as well as with seeds, so now let's just look at the root word of seed. If we look at seeds, seeds need to be planted at a distance from each other. I've learned this the hard way because I'm not much of a gardener, but I keep trying. And I was just like, well, I'll just plant lots, and then whatever comes up, and then it would like all grow crazy. The root system didn't have enough space, and once the plants came to reach sunlight, they didn't have enough space to grow and spread themselves out. So if you look at it from a point of view of the new earth theory, is we are now in the age of Aquarius. We have shifted out of the age of Pisces and moved into the age of Aquarius. And while Pluto is bouncing back and forth a little bit for the next until October, we're pretty much there. The game has begun. And that happened just this year is when that shift, when Pluto moved, it was like one more planet to say, okay, all of our players are on the field now, let's go. The pregame is over. What we've been experiencing up until this point has been the pregame. And prior to the pregame, it was the learning, the training. Before a football player hits a football field, he spends 15 years in training. And so we as starseeds have been in training. We've been implanted at a distance from each other. And that distance has allowed each of us to grow individually, and we've been planted in shit because shit is great fertilizer. so that we could learn the skills that we needed to learn to survive, to get through, to maintain that light within, that heart space within, and persevere. And yes, we're going to keep doing it. And we felt isolated and alone and not heard, not understood. And now that this pregame, since the time of the pregame, all of a sudden, we're meeting up with teammates. Soul Tribe is coming in and saying, hey, you experienced that? Yeah, me too. And you experience, oh my God, wow, I had the exact same experience as you. So the star seeds have been implanted in a situation at a distance so that each could grow in their own right. And now that we've broken through into the light and are starting to spread and get bigger like a plant, we're not yet fully, in flower stage or fruition. Well, maybe you are. I'm not. I'm beginning to get, there's little buds, I think, that are starting to manifest for me at the moment, little buds. And I don't know where you are in your awakening journey. Maybe you're a little bit further advanced and you've got big, glorious flowers, and you can see examples of this out there. I see these women that have ascended out of like dark places, and the singer Adele immediately comes to my mind, who is transformed completely, and is living her best life and feels fantastic. And there's lots of other examples out there of people that, were living it pretty tough at some point. She was overweight, had a bad marriage, all these types of situations, and now she just is glowing, and it's like the glow up. And then there are others that are just starting to sprout. So everybody is reaching their harvest time in their own time. Different plants mature at different stages, and thank God for that. Otherwise, there'd be absolute anarchy if everybody was going through the dark night of the soul, coming through, trying to break through the soil to get up out into the light. If everybody was going through dark night of the soul at the same time, it would be chaos. Lots and lots of chaos. So get back to where I started from. I realized in the commonality of so many people having these karmic relationships as part of their soul contract, and that I was just astounded at how many people resonate with narcissistic abuse, and how many people resonate with, or the term, having a karmic relationship that was a very difficult relationship that stressed them to the absolute max, that pushed them this, that, and the other. And so I now look at it, I'm reframing it in my own mind's eye, that it was my initiation. It was, and your initiation, if you resonate with this story as well. So I love superhero stuff, because superheroes always, win out at the end. And Batman Begins, I love Batman. Batman Begins, he is fighting against, he has to fight against his own mentor, is what brings him up out of the dark and into his own empowerment. So Ra Al Ghul, I think is his name. And so as empaths, as starseeds, as twin flames, light workers, any of these terms, as I said, we have, and even if you don't resonate with those terms, and I said maybe you resonate with these are the terms from the spiritual camp, from the spiritual point of view, whereas these terms over here are more within regards to the psychological point of view, which is ADD and autistic, Asperger's, OCD, all these disorders. It's the same spectrum. It's the same spectrum. It's the spectrum of light. It's just the perspective coming from two different camps. So if we merge them together into one and come up with one term for all, let's call us neurodivergent starseeds, the upgraded version of, because to me it's not a disorder. To me, having autistic traits is an upgrade, because I have have skills that are gifts that I am learning still how to utilize, that came online and very overwhelming. But, you know, a lot of those gifts, I had them with me my whole life, such as my problem solving mind, to look at things and see how things could be put together differently, especially in regards to like spatial awareness of how the flow of energy and flow of movement would work more efficiently. And even though that would ruffle feathers, you know, so if you are able to move yourself through the experiences that you have, and that in itself is I divide in two parts. So the first part of alchemizing or transmuting or a negative experience into a positive experience is through the processes of your emotions. And I have said in many videos that we need to stop the war of emotions, because most of us people who have come with this mission of being a starseeds are highly sensitive people. You know, you may resonate maybe with that term of a highly sensitive person, and you know, you need to have headphones on to go out because it's too overwhelming, or sunglasses because it's too uncomfortable, or you tend to look down and not do eye contact with people, or certain energies is too overwhelming, like going to a mall with blah 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 bling and the bright lights and the people, and you know, it's like it overstimulates the system. And then to be told continually that, you know, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, you're too this, too that, you then internalize that trauma as like there's something wrong with me. But those feeling centers that you've been given are your ultimate gift. And so I am like ixnaying any more judgment on any emotions, because all of the emotions have value and have purpose. I learned many lessons through all of my emotions, and if you look at where I was 7 years ago, I was despondent, depressed, and, you know, ready to give up on life. It was just like, when is this going to end? I was just absolutely at my wit's end, that it just, you know, in pure apathy, which has an energetic vibrational frequency of at about 5, dead being 0, of course. And so through my awakening process, I had to ascend all of the emotions, not bypass the emotions and just high vibes only. I had to ascend through all of the emotions, because if you are at the point of absolute despondency, to get to bliss requires going through all of the sad, wet emotions, and the anguish, and the despair, and climbing yourself, climbing that ladder, the emotional ladder, to get to yourself to a place of, you know, fearfulness and nervousness and anxiety and terror and other emotions, and then get yourself moved up into anger, into rage, into disgust, into like, no, I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm going to be treated with respect. I'm going to be treated with boundaries. I'm going to erect some boundaries here. Anger is a very powerful emotion. It's awesome. It says no. It says I can erect a boundary. I'm not going to self-sacrifice anymore. I'm going to like change how I do things. And you know, rage is like an absolute, like, it's fighting back. And you know, I started trauma counseling a couple of months ago because I needed help to help me transition through the absolute. I was just broken. I was just broken from the experiences that I had, and I was beyond confused. I didn't understand why this happened to me. Why would somebody treat me like this? Why would somebody gaslight me and lie to me and cheat on me and manipulate and triangulate and do all this like fuckery? Why? I needed to know why. And one of my counselor's like, "Why aren't you angry?" And I was like, because I was just, you know, I was in anguish, and anguish is a lower vibrational emotion than anger is. Anger is higher. And I was like, I don't know. I would love to be angry. And she's like, you need to get angry. And getting the green light, the thumbs up to the validation that anger was something that was going to be useful for me was hugely important. And listen, I already knew it, but to get the validation was a life changer for me. And so I started, yes, I am angry about this. I don't want this to continue. And so, I looked at some of the situations and some of the other things that were confessed to me, and I was like, this isn't right. This is wrong. I got to do something about this. I got to make action. And so, I had to become empowered. And your power center is your solar plexus. And I was lacking energy there big time because I had been, for the last so many years, if you look at it from a perspective of 7 years ago, in the root chakra, my survival, I was barely surviving. So I didn't even have the energy to fight for life, I had just given up. I was in bed all the time. I was sick. I was diseased. I was depressed. I was obese. It was bad. And so I had to move up. And as I was moving up and working on my root chakra issues, all the emotions that are associated there, I had to move into the sacral area, which is all the tears. I cried for an entire year because I was absolutely just devastated in retrospect, all this trauma that I had experienced. It broke my heart. And all these years I haven't been crying because I was told not to cry. Don't cry. Don't be sensitive. Why are you reacting like that? I was being gaslit routinely that somehow having emotions about certain things was wrong, and I was perceiving the situation wrong, and I wasn't wrong. I was right. I just wasn't allowed to feel the feels. And so I had 49 years of feels lodged in my belly, my big fat belly that needed to be cried, that needed to be purged, that needed to be released. And then as it moved up into my solar plexus and my fears and anxieties and nervousness came online, and terror, absolute terror of I'm having a nervous breakdown, my life is falling apart, this is wow. And I had to express those emotions. I had to release them. And as memories started being triggered that were horrific, I had to release those. I had to experience them. I had to feel them because I'm climbing. I had to get into anger. I had to put my hand out and say, no, I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. I'm not going to be shamed. I'm not going to be blamed. I'm not going to be criticized and judged by anyone. I don't care who you are. Absolutely zero people have the right to judge me for how I've chosen to pull myself out of the depths of hell so that I can ascend into the light and make something of myself and stand on my own 2 feet and break all these cycles and break all these addictions that we're trying to repress and keep down and lock in and mask and all the other stuff and the denial and the distractions. I'm not going to allow anyone to put me down for feeling my feelings and moving my way up this ladder out of the place of absolute despair. Because I want it clearly on the record that one's right of speech does not supersede my right of silence. And so this notion that people have the right to lay judgment and assess and come at you is a hard no for me. I have the right to block and delete. I'm not tolerating that anymore. I've tolerated that my entire life. Giving people the benefit of the doubt and gaslighting myself because, oh, well, maybe I should care what they think. Listen, I care about everybody on this planet, every single human, and I have the utmost compassion for all of them, even the worst of the worst. I can have compassion for, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give them access to me, to abuse me, to blame me, to shame me, to anything me. I can feel compassion for you, and I can wish you well from way the fuck over there. And that's the way. The fuck over there is where you're going to stay. You don't get access to me. Compassion doesn't mean opening yourself up to like be mistreated, to be accepting of bad behaviors. Compassion starts with self. Self-love starts with self, and that means saying, I love you. I care about you. I hope you sort your shit out. But I'm out. I'm not your savior. I'm not your messiah. I'm not your mother. I'm not your healer. I'm not your, well, unless you're paying me to come and do stuff. But even still, if you're criticizing me while I'm doing a Reiki session, you won't be a client for long. So I have equal right. Every single person has equal right for self-protection, comfort, self-care, and silence. So yeah, you're entitled to your opinion. You can say whatever you want to say, but I'm entitled to not hear it. So yes, I'm feeling very empowered in my warrior stance because I've been put through hell. I've been put through the initiations and I survived it. And so this is where you come when you allow yourself to feel your feels. This is where you come to when you ascend up out of the depths and get into a place of self-value, self-respect, self-worth, self-care, because the more that I can protect self, the more I'm able, please check out the ABLE playlist if you don't know the ABLE program, but in brief, I can achieve. B, I can ascend to bliss. That's the goal. Love, I can love myself and I can exercise and move my body because it's all about, movement. I am able to change my life. I was told repetitively and routinely that I couldn't do anything, and leaving an abusive marriage was a bad choice because I was incapable of doing anything. And I'm not tolerating that or accepting that assessment or judgment anymore, because look what I have done. I have lost weight. I have quit in total sobriety. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't eat sugar. I don't drink caffeine. I don't. So until you can say that you've quit all of those, don't be judging me. I've quit codependency. I've escaped from that. I've looked at that. I've done the work. I've done the shadow work. I've gone into the dark places. I've gone into the muck every single day for years. I have gone into the muck and I have faced my stuff. I have faced one after another, all the demons that came to me. And am I agitated? I'm empowered? Sure. Does that irritate you? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care because I care about the fact that I have finally, for the first time in probably all of my life, feel a sense of pride. I've never felt that. I felt self-loathing, self-disgust, self-hatred, but I have certainly not felt self-pride. And self-pride and self-love is all about, the heart chakra coming up into this energy here where I can be, listen, I can show myself all the energies that I've been giving out to the world freely my entire life. Now it's more in balance, and I'm going to give some of that to me. And I'm going to be in my authenticity, and I'm going to speak my truth. And you have a right not to listen to it. If you don't like it, you can turn me off. That is 100% fine. You can unsubscribe if you don't like it. You can even send a dislike on my videos. It only helps my algorithm. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's okay. That's 100% okay. If you want to come from a different camp and view me and assess me and judge me, go right ahead. But I don't need to listen to it, and I don't need to accept it, and I don't need to negotiate about it, and I don't need to justify who I am or who I had to become to escape the abuse that you know nothing about. This is where I'm at today. I hope it lasts, and I hope it ascends into the next things, because I would love to get to a place where I'm at absolute neutrality and harmony and peace. Those things are further up on the spectrum. I'm not there yet. I'm working my way up there. I am working my way as a slow, steady climb from where I started from in 2019 to 2024. That's a very short amount of period of time to transform the amount of things and go through the amount of things that I have successfully managed to stay alive for. So I'm going to be me, is who I'm going to be. I'm going to be authentically me, and I'm going to own that. And if people don't like it, I have the courage now, in my first time in my life, to be disliked. If you dislike me, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I have the connections and experiencing things that I haven't ever experienced before as new tribe mates come in and soul tribe mates come. I've experienced love for the first time in my life. Real, bona fide, genuine love. I've received support like I've never received before. I have gratitude to the nth degree, not only for my fortitude and my perseverance and my determination, but I have an incredible amount of gratitude for those that can show up in supportive energy, in cheering me on, in energy that's not about betrayal and thinking that I should somehow just always accept betrayal in my life. No, I'm not accepting that energy anymore. If that's the energy you're in, okay, whatever, go. But you don't have access to me. The ones that have access to me are the ones that are going to be promoting each other, supporting each other, lifting each other up, cheering each other on, saying it's okay. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to be sad. It is okay to be challenged. It is okay to be, I will hold space for you. I will hold space for you. I will love you while you're angry and cranky. I will love you while you're experiencing whatever experiences, because that is truth. Emotions are truth. And I value truth above all else. And I'm living in my truth now. And so this is where I'm at today. Long may it last. We have a new moon coming in. Those tend to make me wobble a little bit, but maybe it's going to just push me a little bit further, and maybe one of my buds will open just a little bit more. And maybe as new experiences are coming in that I'm starting to experience with curiosity for the first time in my life, I'm able to put down the hypervigilance and terror of what's the next disaster that's coming. I'm able to look at it from a perspective of, I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to see what God has in store for me, because I have faith for the first time in a very, very long time. That was challenged and stolen away from me. So if you need help because you're stuck in any of these situations that has you in a lower frequency energy, feel free to get in touch, and let's book a Zoom call so that I can hold space for you while you are in anger, while you are in emotion, while you are in despair or grief. I can hold space for you very easily. I can do that without judgment, without blame, without shame, and without criticism. That said, I want to send you all absolutely all of my love. I love each and every one of you. I am so grateful for all of the people that support me on my journey, when it started from the Unfuckening Movement to moving into the You Movement, and all the likes, the shares, the subscriptions, the comments that are like, yes, this is good, you're doing good, all of that. I seriously, I can appreciate it like you can't even imagine. I can appreciate it because I know what it's like to not have it. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot say thank you enough. And I'm going to send you all on your way. Mwah. Peace out.